unless you fill that out. That's not an agreement. There's some legal action that can be taken there. You see? But see, people are afraid to lose their jobs. You know, so now for all the people that lost their job because of this whole thing, and if any of you are listening to this class, y'all got some money y'all can go after. Because now they didn't cut you off and then they were taking your money without your consent. They made you believe you had to fill that out. And this law clearly states right here, an employee and his employer may enter into an agreement under section 3402P3A to provide for the withholding of income tax upon payments of amounts described in paragraph B1 of section 31.3402A-3, made after December 31st, 1970. An agreement may be entered into under the section only with respect to the amounts which are includable in the gross income of the employee under section 61. It must be applicable to all such amounts paid by the employer to the employee. The amount to be withheld pursuant to an agreement under section 3402P3A shall be determined under the rules contained in section 3402 and the regulations thereunder. See section 31.3405C-1. Skipping down. B, Akeem, where are you getting? Where they still don't say W4? Well, it's about to. 1.1, except as provided in section subdivision 2 of the subparagraph, an employee who desires to enter into an agreement under section 3402P3A shall furnish his employer with a W4. And I just showed you that. Oh, 4. Here it is. A W4. Right? Withholding exemption certificate. It says, but it says employees withholding certificate. You know, the law of leave is a little different, right? But that's the form. Executed in accordance with provisions of section 3402F and the regulations thereunder, the furnishing of such form W4 shall constitute a request for withholding. So it says it has to be done in accordance with 3402F. So let's go down. Let's see what F says. Anyway, let's keep reading. You'll see what you're supposed to do. In 2, it says, in case of an employee who desires to enter into an agreement under section 3402P3A with his employer, if the employee performs services in addition to those to be the subject of the agreement, the remuneration for which is subject to mandatory income tax withholding by such employer, or if the employee wishes to specify that the agreement terminate on a specific date, the employee shall furnish the employer with a request for withholding, which shall be signed by the employee and shall contain. So the employee furnishes the employer voluntarily. And it says the name, address, and social security number of the employee making a request, the name and address of the employer, a statement that the employee desires withholding of federal income tax and applicable of qualified state individual income tax. See paragraph D31 of section 301.6361-1 of this chapter. D, if the employee desires that the agreement terminate on a specific date, the date of termination of the agreement. Now, it says you not only do you got to fill out the W-4 form, you also got to give them a statement under penalty of perjury, basically saying that you want all of this to be done. But all you fill out is a W-4. So that means that every form that has been done, I know in my lifetime, when I had a job, was done incorrectly. And you know, there's something called void ab initio, meaning it was no good from the start. But yeah, we just sit back and just let them have it because we are afraid of the repercussions of not being able to take care of our families. So they put you guys in such a state of fear that you could see your rights being taken away from you, but out of fear, you don't pursue them. So just in case you want to sue them, you got to take the employer to the court, because if you don't take them, the IRS is going to say, I didn't take your money. They did. Peace, everybody. What's up? Hope y'all was paying attention. See how y'all get robbed. Robbery. It's called receiving money under false pretenses. That's what, in most jurisdictions, that's what that is. What I just showed y'all, the W-4. That's receiving money. If you take money from somebody without giving the full disclosure under a false pretense, that is a felony in most jurisdictions. And that's what's happening with your W-4 form. This is called Sunday inspiration. And inspiration comes from all this. Listen, y'all do what y'all want. What was just showed there, they're gonna give you hell. I'm gonna tell you that. They're gonna give you hell. Don't expect them to roll over. So say your prayers, pray to whatever God you want, do whatever ritual you want, and be ready for the battle if you go after that. But I believe that let me put this on the charger here. I believe that just knowing what you're supposed to do. Hang on, my camera's doing this blurry thing. I don't know why it does that at times. I don't know. I gotta put my regular camera on. But anyway, y'all know what y'all gotta do. Peace, everybody. It's Sunday Inspiration. This is where we try to encourage you to keep moving forward in your purpose. The purpose you say you have in life, whatever it is you're trying to do, stick with it. Because your pre-programmed habits is what's hindering you. The things that we're used to doing, the daily routines that we have done and got up and done that really don't serve us, or is really not working in favor of the ideas and the things we say we want to do. You see? So one of the things I'm going to focus on is, and it's in this very first chapter of, was it the first chapter? Yes, very first chapter of this book. I read from it from time to time. Reverend Knight's book here. This book is Health, Joy, Prosperity for You. Very good book, easy read. Go get it. Right there. And it says, you are what you feed your mind. You are what you feed your mind. What you're taking in, you are that. You will become that. You will live out those things. If you're watching programs that's constantly talking about drama, relationship drama, these drama-filled channels like BET, what's some own network, she shows a lot of dramatic stuff. Lifetime, that channel there, I don't watch it per se, but I've come across it and looked at it. And every movie that I've seen on there, it always puts the woman in a position of being cheated on or getting with a guy that's abusive. Do you know if you feed your mind that stuff all the time, you're gonna develop a psychology around cheating. You're gonna become numb to the idea that you're gonna become programmed with the idea that that's what happens, and you're gonna actually draw that into your life. Either you're gonna be the cheater or you be cheated on. You're gonna draw that stuff. Is gonna think about it. If you've ever had that experience, ask yourself what you were feeding your mind. What were you thinking about? What was the predominant thoughts about your relationship? These the stuff we feed our mind is very important to the outcomes that we're seeing. Now, if you surround yourself with positive things, say if you want to build a business and you surround yourself with business-minded people, business-minded programming, business-minded books, leave clues around the house about setting up a business or keeping a business going, keep those things going around you, that's what you're going to experience. Somebody said, facts. I found myself not trusting women at a time from those shows and TikToks. Right. Like, although Kevin Samuel had a point about women, specifically black women, he had a point. There's certain black women that act and behave the way he described or he presented. Like he would strategically bring on women that just had the worst ideas about relationship, which unfortunately was a lot of them because it wasn't very hard for him to find these women. But if you watch that show and keep watching that over again, it just reinforces an ideology in your mind where you will start to see every black woman the same way. You can't help it. You can't help it. So if you want to have a healthy relationship with a black woman, you need to watch stuff that is healthy in that area. Feed your mind that stuff. But unfortunately, from his programming, people have jumped on the bandwagon and they're making videos off his videos and they saw it that worked. They saw what worked and how they can monetize their channel and make money. Do you realize that people, when you really look at people, are making money off of talking bad about black women? That's what they're making money on. When you do that, that's what you're making money. Oh, I'm just making people aware. Making aware for what? To what end? See, they started with the black man. The main media started with brothers. Everything they showed on about a brother is something negative. Him going to jail. He's a deadbeat dad. He's abusive. All of these stuff. They made movies about it. Tyler Perry was #1 making movies about that stuff. Like that that movie where the guy was a lawyer and his wife, who was black, who was there when he was broke, and then when he got money, he kicked her out and brought on a white woman. Now, let's be honest. Let's really think about the narrative of that movie. How many people ever saw or experienced that type of scenario in real life before they saw that movie? I'll wait. Y'all can comment in the chat. And I remember seeing the movie. My mom saw it. My wife at the time saw it. And it was all he this and they were all into it. Like he's dirty. And they really, I had a conversation with my mom, I think like a couple of months ago. And she was talking along those lines. And I was like, what, y'all saw this stuff in movies. Did y'all actually experience that in real life? My father didn't leave my mom for a white woman. He's still with her. They still married. I could do bad on my own. I think that's what it was, the name of it. Like when you really think about some of these movies we're watching and how they play out, can you really honestly say in your life or in someone else's life that you know that actually happened where a guy, he became this big successful lawyer and kicked her out? Or let's just say any business. And then he found a white woman and just dragged his wife out of the house for this white woman, just treated like trash like that? The way it was depicted in the movie. And that movie had every sister looking at brothers sideways. You ain't going, and you're not going to leave me and without nothing. And what happened? women started acting on the emotion of how these movies presented things. They started setting themselves protection mechanisms in place in their life that didn't even exist. That's why it's very important. You are what you feed your mind. I'm waiting for somebody to say they know somebody that actually happened to, the way that movie played out. Then in the movie, Shamar Moore, whatever his name is, he played the guy who was you know, a manual labor type guy that she fell for. Let's think about the psychology of that. That movie did a good job of lowering the standards of black women and what type of men they would accept into their life. It did. Because he had the job, the well-paying, the money. He broke, he became a lawyer, worked himself up to be a lawyer, but he did the unthinkable. He kicked out for a white woman, right? I'm here critiquing this movie, right? And it made every black woman look at, oh, I have to compete with white women, which they don't have to. Say why? I mean, there is no competition there, right? That's a made up fantasy. Then the guy she go for who just makes regular wages, that's the guy she goes for. Because he treated her nice, which he did. He treated her like in the movie, he presented himself like a gentleman, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. But he didn't have the money. Somebody said, Omar Fernandez says, no, but I kept hearing stories about rich black guys leaving their wives for white women. You kept hearing, that's the thing. Here's the thing. You didn't know anybody specifically. He said, somebody said, Waiting to Exhale started it. That probably is, but that's a movie I can remember because that movie, that dude dragged her out. Man, that was just watching that was painful. The way I like that guy as an actor until he played that movie, played that part. And did you notice after that movie, you didn't see too much of that guy in other movies? I think that movie typecast him into this role of being a bad black guy. I'm just getting y'all to just critically think about what we're feeding our mind. You see? What I'm just getting y'all thinking. Some of y'all may not totally agree. But what I'm saying is that when I see that guy in any other show, and he's just acting, I cannot get the image of him dragging that beautiful black woman out of a house for a white woman. That always comes to mind when I see his face. I mean, how about you? When you see that guy, and if you've seen that movie, you that's the thing. Because I think that woman, the woman that played that part, who got abused, is beautiful to me. She's a beautiful brown-skinned woman. And to see him do that to her was like, wow, very traumatic. So just imagine if it got me like that, what it did to women who saw that. And I know he got some treated some kind of way in public after paying that part. That's why we got to be careful. See, I'm using that movie as an example because they showed you the most extreme example of what could happen in a relationship by a black man. And it was these type of movies that painted an image, that painted the divide between the black man and the black woman. I'm using these terms, black man and black woman, because that's what everybody uses. I know those are not real terms. That doesn't describe us. But that created these things that we were accepting as entertainment, gave such a false narrative. And then they show you the celebrities with their white wives, right? And then black women automatically defaulted to the idea that black men only want white women or someone who looks like a white woman. That has never been my thing. I always wanted that brown skin. There was a time briefly I dated a really light woman, but my preference, brown. This color right here. That was it. Now, yes, there brothers who were shell shocked into, or not shell shocked, or hypnotized or programmed to want the lighter skin? And let's talk about that. I was going to read this right here, but I don't think I need to, because I'm going to give y'all real life examples of how what we feed our mind changes our perception and ultimately changes the outcomes of our life and how we treat people. Give you real life examples. If you grew up when hip hop, at the birth of hip hop in the 80s, late 70s and 80s, and into the 90s, what did you see? What women did you see in these videos? Light-skinned girls. That was, in my time, the start of us wanting just a light-skinned woman or someone that was close to white or white. That was the program. Now, in my life, I didn't date anybody that light. Well, my oldest son's mother, she's very light. But what I'm saying, that wasn't what I was looking for. But every video, and that was a complaint. Like, why they always put the white girls and these light-skinned girls? They never put the dark-skinned girls in these videos. Well, they couldn't, because it was controlled by someone else to promote these images. See, they've always attacked the darkest skinned person, the really dark. They give everyone this false perception of what's good and what's bad. Yeah, that was the name of it. Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That was it. You're right. Now, I've actually talked to women who said, yeah, all black men want is white girls and this and that. I've actually had these conversations. Then when I stop them in their tracks and tell me how many people you know personally is dating white women right now, and they'll tell me no for the most part. Almost all of them did. But they references, well, what about that guy on TV? The basketball, you know how many? That is a small, compared to all of the dark-skinned men in this country or around the world. Let's just say this country. A few basketball players or football players don't amount to anything that say that is what one group of people want. Just because you see Charles Barkley and these other people, Michael Jordan. First of all, Michael Jordan had his first wife was a black woman. Okay, so all these other people, these Clarence Thomas, that's a few people compared to the millions of men out there. You can't even use that as a gauge. See, we have to deal with what we are living in our reality. What is real? Right? I just showed y'all the W-4 form and the instructions and what you're supposed to have and what is supposed to happen with that transaction. But your perceived reality says you have to do it. But real reality, the truth, says you don't. See, there's a perceived reality and then there's the truth. And the question you have to ask yourself, which one are you operating off? Are you operating off a perceived reality, which you think is the truth, or what is the truth? And it all ties to this one thing. What are you feeding your mind? What are you choosing to believe in? If I sit there all day and I watch programming that degrade black women and degrade black men all day, and this is all I get to see, and then I take that same programming and just show that in other countries around the world, y'all think people come from other countries
thinking they just made up this fantasy that uh we're no good as a people? No, because what they're being shown in their country about us is giving them their perception. Think about it. You see these feed the children commercials all the time, right? You see these feed the commercials, and you see this kid with flies on his head, and he's starving. Supposedly, they got him looking starving with flies. Now, have you ever have you ever been to Africa? It's a very rich country. So these people that they're showing as starving is minute compared to what the country actually has going on over there. My parents visited and they said the average person spoke multiple languages, 5 to 7 languages. So that means the education system is off the chain. So how can a person who can speak 5 to 7 languages is still broke? Perception of what they think wealth is. So you see, let me show you how jacked up those commercials up that show talk about feeding the children. See, this is here. I got to unravel something here. Anybody that's got set up a camera, if you know anything about film production, you have to get the lighting right. You got to do all these things. And they're sitting there filming this child, pop belly, flies flying all over, looking real needy. They're filming that. Right? And to get you to donate, they're watching this kid, showing you this kid starving. Or there's one where the kid is so frail and bony. He's with his mom. The mom is holding it. They're showing that. They're filming that, getting the lighting right. How about showing you feeding them with some food, getting them healthy? No, they want you to get their donations up. They show you these people in their worst state. Why? Just to give you a perception that you have to give them money to help these people eat. Whereas they're there with all of that money, expensive equipment, filming that. That costs money. So that means the money you donate is mostly going to all of that production and advertisement. Y'all realize they only got to give pennies towards the actual charity that they're promoting. Look, we could do a little simple search. How much money is required to go to a charity? Okay, 30, they say here. But so Hollywood, I'm looking for that number. It's a very small. I think it says that's what they're spending on 27%. I need to see. I think it's like 20 cents of every dollar, maybe 30 cents of every dollar. Let's see. How much money? I'm asking this question in the wrong way, but it's a very small amount. Majority of the money goes to, I don't have time to look it up. Majority of the money goes to the actual organization, paying people to run it. Yeah. And a lot of these charities just get you to volunteer your time too while they're making millions of dollars. There's a lot of money in charity to be made. And the government only requires them to give them pennies on every dollar to the actual charity. This is why you see a lot of people have charities. Because that's another form of making money. So Do you see how in every situation in this country, there's always something that wants to take control of your perception? You are actually living in a system that is, like this person said, it's a script. Every war, every catastrophe, a script. Well, how did the weather become scripted? Blah, 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 blah. They have a script on how they're going to run it to fuel your perception. They got to give you the perception. They gave you a script for school, education. You've been given a script. And it's well documented and well known that the public educational system is not there to educate you to be successful. It's there to educate you on being able to function in society. That's what it actually says, to be able to function, to be a good citizen, to be an asset to society. Wait a minute. Did you hear what I said? Be an asset to society as a whole, a collective. Do y'all get what I just said? It's there for you to make society good. And what is society? Taxing you before you get your money, credit scores. Everything is just a number. You're just a number to fuel the system, to help banks get paid. They want to give you money. They want to loan you credit and do all of that. But they also have to create a system where you can't get the credit to make you want the credit even more, to keep you in debt. Because the Bible says you shouldn't be in debt. You should be the lender, not the borrower. See how it's scripted? So if they didn't have a script of credit scores, you wouldn't even care, right? You wouldn't even pay attention to that. But you feel like, well, I got to get my stuff right. This, that, and the other. So I got to work hard. Now you're distracted by working on this credit score instead of working on a business that makes so much money you don't need credit. You use it as a way of leveraging it. See, rich people use credit to build wealth. Poor people use credit to get things. You see? Is credit, you just got to be on what spectrum you're doing it. If you getting credit for an asset to make money off it, it's fine. But if you're just getting credit just to buy things and blow it on, it's a waste. But you've been given a perception. Why? Because in school, they're not teaching you how to use credit to leverage assets. In school, they're teaching you how to get credit to do what? To get a 30-year mortgage, to get credit cards, and get student loans. You need to have good credit because you need to get your student loans. You need to be able to get credit card. You need to be able to buy a house and have a 30-year mortgage. That's the programming. That's what they're feeding your mind. You are what you feed your mind. We have fed our children. We have delivered our children up to these public school systems. And as you can see now, they are becoming corrupt every day. They're having drag queens coming into the school to present themselves to children. And they have a song out saying that they're coming after your children. They're singing it proudly. But whose fault is it? We knew it wasn't a great place to send the kids, but because we had to work and we have the burden of taking care of our families through jobs, we put our children on the back burner to go slave for somebody else to get a paycheck. It's our fault. They presented us with their script, and we fell for it. We went for it. We said this is normal. We say we're going to send our kid off to these colleges so that they can be well-rounded. See, there's a well-rounded good and there's a well-rounded bad. See, Well-rounded how? Well-rounded to fit into what? Society, norms. And if you haven't realized this by now, all societal norms are wrong because you've been living into the societal norms all your life and you're still struggling to pay bills. Or even if you're feeling comfortable, if you're a stone's throw away from having nothing, if your 401k collapses, if your job fires you, you got to find another job or start something to make up for the money. See the script? See what you fed yourself, what your mind has done to you by believing in all of these things? You were only born and created to believe in one thing. Believe in the power of God and what he can do for you, not the power of government and their systems, what they can do for you. That's what you were supposed to believe in. And I don't recall in any of these scriptures where God so favored these people had wealth, they maintained business, and they employed people. So who really is acting more in alignment with scripture? The worker, the slave, or the person who has the business, who owns the business, who is the employer? Who is acting more in line with the scriptures? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not your everyday worker. And that was a proven point when the Jews were slaves to the Egyptians. The only reason why they became slaves to do y'all understand that working for someone was in the Bible the curse that God allowed his people to go into when they didn't do right? He let them go be in exile, let someone run them because they wouldn't follow his direction. They wouldn't obey the commands. And because y'all not obeying the commands, that's why all y'all got jobs now. Oh, now it's a societal norm. You got to get your job. And how much they're paying an hour? And do y'all realize the powers that be, the government knows that? And that's why you're treated as second-class citizens, as U.S. citizens. U.S. citizen is a second-class citizen. Y'all can say whatever y'all want, because that's the one that gets the get the money snatched without question. Give me his money. And if he ain't giving me enough, take more of it. If that ain't slavery, then what is that? If that's not a second-class citizen, then what is that? Because no one with sovereignty or power gets treated that way. No one who is operating fully in their God power is treated that way. See, when a person runs a business or owns a business, that business dictates when the government get the money. They don't come take it first. They say, okay, you did this. This is what you owe now. This is what you got to pay. But when you are the second-class citizen, you get taxed first. You get hit up first. We're going to take them because they heathens. They ain't following Bible standards. They wouldn't want the job. They took the job. I know I'm taking a sledgehammer to your reality. I know that. And some of y'all don't, it hurts. I know, but guess what? When I need to clean out my body, clean my system out, this is stuff that a supreme cleanser. It's the most bitter thing that I've ever tasted, ever. But guess what it does? It goes in, but it cleanses me out. And them little pills y'all take for cleansing, they bitter too. Y'all just put them in a capsule so you can't taste it. But you open that capsule up and taste that stuff. That stuff is nasty. But they made it in such a way where you couldn't taste the bitterness. And that's the issue. Our perceptions are so tainted that we're not willing to go through and taste the bitterness and feel the pain, what it would take to wake us up to make a change. Because you do realize most successful people, just about all of them, who've started from nothing and built themselves up, they went through some bitter times. They tasted some bitter things. What did it do? It fed their mind to make them change their perception of what they were dealing with, to be able to change things for themselves. So you need that bitter. See, the sweetness, do y'all realize most of the stuff y'all eat that has some sugar in it, the other ingredients in there are nasty, are unhealthy. The sweetness is covering up all of that. And this is what you have with society right now. They cover it up. They sweeten it up. Oh, this is what you're supposed to do. Go to school, get this education, and get a good job so you can get a 401k. They sweeten it up. But when you look under the surface of all of that stuff that you're supposed to be going for, the stress of getting up every day, clocking in, clocking out, waiting for your lunch break, waiting to take your vacation with your family. You have to plan that. And if somebody got that week, you can't get that week. Somebody got that day, you can't get. So you got to do what? Oh, you got to make up an excuse why you're not coming. Well, I'm sick. Because you got certain days you could claim sick without proving that you were sick. So you use those. You use them all to your best. You get real creative. You become a liar. You put yourself in a situation you have to lie so you don't have to go and deal with them people on the job no more that day or that week. All against biblical principles, because it says God hates a liar. See what it's done to your very psyche when you accepted and adopted these systems. See what it did to you? What type of person it has made you? It made you a person who you don't want to come home and deal with your family or talk to them because you're so exhausted from dealing with the stress out there that you don't have time to sit down and spend time with your children and talk to them and really get to know your children. I know this all too well because I've been down that road. See what what we allowed ourselves to believe and feed into our mind. And what enhances this stuff is when they show stuff on TV, how many shows do you see when they show that people have a business and they're running? They got shows where, like this one show called Billionaire that I watched. He's this big mastermind over the business, but he got a bunch of people working for him, making good money. But everything they show is catered towards being an employee. I can't really think off the top of the head too many businesses that show starting a business. Well, the McDonald's movie, those things come very few and far in between. But most shows promote you going after a job, some very high paying, prestigious, where you can get recognition. I got this position. I'm the CEO, CFO. Those are all slaves too. Why? Because they're slaves to the shareholders. They get big money. It's above average pay, but it's still a form of slavery on a different level. But they give you one CEO, one CFO, then the rest is hundreds of employees down there. And that's where most people fit. And that's where they want most people to fit. See, they want you to believe that you can't be a CFO without this and that. You're not part of that. You're part of this group. They want you to believe in this group. That's why public education pushes everybody in the same direction, to be a part of the working class. Oh, you're the working class. You should be proud because you're part of the working class. You're part of the ones that they tax the most. Be proud of that. That they get to take more money than they do from the guy who owns the business. Be proud. Why are you existing that way? Because of what you fed your mind, what you chose to believe in, what you chose to accept. Everything's by contract. Spiritual, written, verbal, nonverbal, everything is by choice. That's really what a contract is, a choice to go into an agreement with something. No one is actually taking anything from you. What they're actually doing is that you're allowing them to take it from you through your lack of education, through a lack of willingness to turn off the television that's giving you a programming, turning off the music that's programming your mind to think of things in a certain way. Like if you're listening to today's rap, all that's doing is teaching you how to look at women in a negative way. And it's only teaching men how to talk in a negative way. Because they're not talking about in these rap now, they're not talking about starting businesses, they're talking about selling drugs and using drugs and partying. All the stuff they got you doing, that thinking about and praising, is gonna get you locked up, killed, hooked on your product. It's nothing productive about that. And I remember when I did satellite, I used to install satellite. It was always the poor people, the people who didn't have the means, who barely could pay their bills, that wanted the highest package possible, the biggest. I want the platinum. And then you go into the homes with nice home, and they were doing okay for themselves. They was very. How much does that cost? No, just what channels do I get with that? They're very particular about what the okay. I get this, I get that. Does it have? And they ask for certain channels. Some of them would say, "Does it have Animal Planet? Does it have?" There was several educational channels that came with certain package. They wanted those. Not that they didn't entertain themselves with certain things, but they wanted the bare issues when it came to television. The very small package. And like clockwork, the people who got the biggest package, their service would be off in 2 to 3 months. They didn't even pay the first bill. Why? Why do these people who want the biggest package and the people that want the smallest package behave so differently? Because the people with the biggest package fed their minds things about finances, and they really know, they're more interested in educating their mind and elevating themselves than watching television. Whereas the people who wanted the biggest package was not interested in elevating their mind. They were just interested in doing one thing. When they finished their work at the end of the day, they wanted to be in front of a television with a plate of food or a drink. Sat there hours on end. Why'd you go to? It's on the same channel. Videos. Watching this, if you've ever watched any video channel like VH1, I don't know if they even still have these channels. It was MTV, all these things. They show the same videos over and over again. So you're actually programming your mind, conditioning your mind to whatever's they're presenting in that show. This is why you have this perception that black men only want white women, because you're watching videos that show that. And then you translate that. Your subconscious doesn't understand what's real and what's not real. It just takes it in. Your conscious mind has to deliberately go in and sort things out. But what's really running you and what's really operating your operating system is the subconscious. You are operating on that subliminal programming, that sub-programming in that subconscious. No matter. That's why, I need to make a change. I need to go on a diet. I need to do this. And you do it for a day or two, and the next you're back to eating the same old junk. Why? Because the subconscious is the real boss. And it's telling you, you need to do this. This is what you need to do. And you just go do it. And that's, you started off a week maybe and you did okay. Then you're back to doing. That's why it's so easy for you to eat this stuff that's no good for you. Because you are programmed. So you have to rewire the subconscious mind. You have to rewire it. You have to reprogram it. So that means that you have to binge things opposite of what you were doing before. I know plenty of people that have good business ideas and they just can't seem to get it off. Now, if they're honest with themselves and they go look at their programming, the things that they're doing, you have to really change everything. You have to change everything that you're doing in order to make a change. And that's the hard part. That is the hard part. Because now I can't watch this show no more that I enjoy, that my lower self enjoys. I can't do that. I can't watch these drama in relationships no more. I can't watch the extreme violence no more. I can't do this. And you don't give that up, you're going to keep the same stuff you had before. In order to receive new things, you got to get rid of old things. In order to have a better relationship, you got to get rid of the bad relationship. And sometimes getting rid of a bad relationship doesn't mean get rid of a person. Getting rid of a bad relationship, getting rid of a bad relationship with yourself, and then get rid of that bad relationship. Because for you to have a bad relationship with someone else, you got a bad relationship with yourself. You have to look. And once you get into a good relationship with yourself, then that person, whatever they're doing, means nothing, because now you say, oh, all I got to do is excuse them out of my life. And there go, I'm in the place that I really want to be in. Just excuse them. Excuse me, but what you're doing doesn't serve me right now. It's not for my peace of mind. You see? See, someone said something very profound and it made me think. He says, it's not about what they're doing, it's about what you want and what you want to do. And when you isolate it like that, wait a minute, you narrow your focus and focus on yourself, they become a non-factor in the decision. And sometimes you got to do it that way. You got to narrow your focus. What really is it that I'm trying to obtain and get here? What am I trying to benefit here? And you got to narrow it down. And once you see it, you say, whoa, that's just them doing whatever. I get to choose what I get to accept and do. See, the relationships and the things we get involved in came all from how we fed our mind. What we chose to feed it. Whatever false doctrines we took on, whatever false Christ we chose to believe in. There's a lot of false Christs out there, false saviors. If you got someone who's mentoring or teaching you or talking to you and they're not holding you accountable to the stuff you're dealing with, no matter what it is, then they're a false Christ. Because at the end of the day, everything you deal with is coming down to one thing, one person, one idea. You. Sit. What you're choosing and allowing. It's you. All right, what somebody said, teach. Let me go back to the it's just every time I go to work, go work for somebody else, I feel like I'm tucking my tail down. Right. Because, bro, that's not your natural position. Your natural position is not to go be a servant or a slave for someone else. In biblical times, people were slaves because they borrowed money to someone. They was indebted to someone, so they had to work that off. And how did we become in debt? How did we become in debt to the government? We accepted their benefits and privileges. We accepted their birth certificate to say this is the time of day and all this to be born. We accepted that as our credential. That's where it started. Middle class, upper class. In the JOB reality, you become very creative to be happy. That is funny, but very painful. That just hit me hard. Teach elder. And then somebody put up, hey, bro, I teach folks how to make contracts for insurance companies to create your own bank and family wealth. I also teach how to create your family trust. Well, we teach trust and all of that now. About to create no bank, I don't know much about that. I guess if people want to hit the brother up and see what he's talking about, but we do trust here. This is what we do. We set up trust in our membership. It's all we operate out of, or we try to. I operate out of that. I don't. I mean, you can put whatever you want, as long as you ain't trying to create no. You're honorable. Here's the deal. If you want to take back your true power, first you have to take back your mind, your true mind, and make sure that your thoughts and your desires are authentic to what you want. Not authentic to what you think someone else desires you to be. People operate really mostly off of what they want someone to perceive of them, to gain something from that person. They present these illusionary ideas of themselves. Ladies, I'm sorry. This might bother you, but I'm going to say it. All that makeup and the fake hair and all of that stuff, all this extra you're putting on, what God created you to be, beautiful. You were beautiful from without all of that. You're a baby, look at that beautiful baby. And you grow up and then you decide, I want to put all this stuff on. I want to enhance my looks. News for y'all, and y'all know this, but y'all don't care. Men don't care about all of that makeup and fake hair. That doesn't turn us on. Tell you the truth, we have to look at that and see what the enhancements are and start calculating in our mind whether is it too much, too little. We have to actually adjust our minds, because it's so unnatural for us to desire a woman with all of this extra stuff on. It's really unnatural for us to be attracted to that. So we look at it and we assess in our mind. This happens almost instantaneously. I'm giving y'all a secret. Y'all can believe it or not. Whether we start reasoning. Oh, the hairs, I don't like it, but we'll deal with it. It's okay. The makeup, I don't like it, but it's okay. That's what we're doing, brothers. Brothers in the chat, am I telling a lie right now? Am I telling a lie? Am I the only brother that does that assessment in my mind? Come on, hit me up in the chat. I need somebody to help me out here. I know that I'm like, okay, I don't really like that, but it ain't too bad. Mad Max said facts. Son of the True King said no lie. So somebody said traffic, hell no. You don't do that? Hell no. I don't know if he means he's in agreement or not. Maybe he's not in agreement. Maybe he's just one person who wants a woman made up. I know I don't want a woman made up. I want her in her natural state. He said, no, you're correct, but I decided I like natural sisters. I want her in her natural state. Sure. what she thinks is flaw. Do y'all realize a lot of the stuff that y'all think are flaws are actually attractive to us? Most men don't want that stuff that they put on them fake women they have on TV. We ain't looking, we ain't wanting that. We want a sister natural, in her natural state of being. Because that's what we were designed to like, natural. What's real? The truth. We're truthful beings by nature. Oh, you say, hell no, I'm not the only one. I was saying you were spitting facts. Right. I just broke it down. We see all that stuff, extra stuff. We're trying to look through it to see what you really look like, what your hearers really look like. We have to sit there and do an assessment. And if you ever wonder and you talking to him and he not really paying attention, because his mind is trying to assess all through all of that layers of other stuff you got on. I know sisters like, yeah, they get mad because that, guess what? That requires change. I'm not saying that putting on some makeup and going out is don't do that. I'm saying what we prefer. I see women with some makeup and it looks absolutely beautiful. Oh, that looks great, but I know that ain't all her. It looks good for that moment. Oh, that looks good. We going out. Okay, that's good. Okay. But I'm going to tell you something. All that makeup is not really attracting a real man. Because he's already looked and tried to peel it off to see what you really look like and said, okay, I think this is what she really looked like and this is what I'm going to go for. Boom, bam. That's not it. I mean, I knew sister ain't gonna stop doing it, but I'm telling you, try that. Try to go fully natural for a week and see how much attention you get. Now, yeah, you got some weak people that they want all that fake stuff. Yeah, but they're flimsy themselves. Bo Muffin that said, I'm married and my wife is beautiful without makeup. And I know they are. But here's the thing. When you're telling your wife that, she don't be believing you. Why? Why don't she believe you? It's not that she think you're a liar. It's because society has programmed her and she's fed her mind with what society's programming to say what beautiful is. You need Maybelline and Mary Kay. You need all this other stuff. Now, let me tell y'all the other secret about us dudes. The one thing that really turn us on is smell. A good smell. Now, that's an addition. Now, my brothers, what do y'all got to say to that one? Now, if you want to enhance something, nice perfume. And if you look at even in the animal kingdom, they use scents to attract each other. That's the thing that really brings it on. That's why I said facts again. I'm just dropping games. Since if y'all having a hard time finding a man, I just gave y'all the keys to get you a real man. Because only the fake ones want all of that extra stuff. Because they fake. Natural confidence, once you know who you are, you show you real you. Take it or leave it. Right. See, I admire when I see a woman wearing her natural hair, just straight natural for the most part. That tells me one thing about that sister. She's confident and she know who she is. And she's not looking for worldly validation. Because that's a recipe for a disaster. When you got a woman that's looking for worldly validation, you don't want that. Somebody put up fresh smells. Yes, I teach all of that. Lantra said, "Do you teach anything about private membership association PMAs?" Really, that's a term that someone came up, private membership association, but really the real term is an unincorporated association. I create religious unincorporated associations. Private membership associations is not written in any law, but unincorporated association, which is really the same thing, is written in the law and it has major protections. Yes, I teach that. I actually got it on my website, akiemel.com. But if you get into my membership, I show you the whole shebang. Private membership association, aka unincorporated religious associations, um, correcting the passport, all of that stuff. Just everything, the whole 9 years. We got over 70 videos, hold meetings every 2 weeks. Go to akiemel.com. All of the information is there. I'll put it in the website. Sorry, I just recently went up on that membership. It was like 15, then it was 19. Now it's $49.95. No, if you need a payment plan, we can work that out. But the reason why, because now most everything that I teach is in that membership from A to Z. And because in the membership, people have been able to learn how to pay off their mortgages in months' time. The full mortgage paid off. So, I mean, I can see a 30-year mortgage being paid off in just a matter of months, year, however long it takes. I mean, that's priceless. I know people hitting the people up for way more than that. Very natural state of mind. Little Sally, like, yeah, little Sally, like, it ain't bad. It's kind of a little, not overly, in modesty. It's kind of sexy. See, I'm trying to tell y'all. Somebody said makeup is a deception. I depends on how much you're using it. Right? A little makeup, little this, that, and the other ain't bad. I don't have a problem. It's when they cake it on and they look like they just about to go to their own funeral. That's the stuff I'm talking about. That funeral makeup, that transvestite makeup, that what they call those the drag makeup. Y'all realize they got women putting up so much makeup they look like they in drag? You can't, like, is this a drag queen or not? Y'all realize all that makeup, that technique comes from the drag community. Oh man, I'm sorry to wake y'all up like that. A lot of y'all fads, y'all following come from these communities. Why? Why did the men had to do that? To cover up that hardness of their face, to make themselves look soft like a woman. You're already a woman. You don't need all that. You already got the qualities that God gave you to look like a woman. You don't need the extra. You don't need it. God gave you what so many of these men are jealous of to have. I'm not now. Don't that community is jealous of. So, sisters, y'all realize the woman is like the powerful, most powerful, that has the one of the most powerful roles in society. She has the power to bring life into this world. Life starts in her womb. They could do it in a test tube and all of that stuff. But a lot of times they start in a test tube and then they put it in the womb. In vitro fertilization. They put it in there for it to, because that is the perfect environment to grow a person in. And then through that, she nurtures this child through an umbilical. She feeds it, do all of this. Do you realize if you're feeding your mind all of this junk, you're feeding that to your child? That's why I say the woman is the most important role. That's why in the Bible, God went to the Virgin Mary because she was pure. That virgin represents pure. She was pure. She was untainted by society's norms. So the Christ had to come through this pure portal. And so if you're allowing anything and everything to just come to your portal, then how is that special? I know I'm touching some nerves. And brothers, I read a few weeks ago that the type of woman you should be looking for is wisdom, because wisdom is a feminine characteristic based on what the Bible says it's in Proverbs. I read that a few weeks ago. That was see if I can find it. Let's see. It says, here it is. Let me see. Right here, Proverbs 1:20-33. It says, wisdom cries aloud in the street. In the market, she raises her voice. At the lead of the noisy street, she cries out. At the entrance of the city gate, she speaks. How long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? How long will you scoffers delight in their scoffing and fools hate knowledge? If you return at my reproof, behold, I will pour out my spirit to you. I will make my words known to you. Saying wisdom is a female characteristic. Is represented. There's another one that says, let me see if I can find that one where it says, hold on to wisdom. Let's see. What's this one? Yeah, sweet with no wounds. Well, it's all Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 8 says, does not wisdom call? Does not understand raise her voice? Understanding raise her voice? On the heights besides the way, at the crossroads, she takes her stand. Besides the gates in front of the town, at the entrance of the portal, she cries aloud, to you, O men, I call. And my cry is to the children of man. O simple ones, learn prudence. O fools, learn sense. Herefore I will speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right. From my mouth will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. So they're saying that wisdom is a female characteristic, and a woman is supposed to have wisdom and truth. Why is that important for a woman to have wisdom and truth? Because everybody, it comes through her. She births nations, she births countries, and everyone must come through. In order to get it, you got to come through her. And if you're coming through that portal that's not truthful and not wise, what type of children will you have? It's a very powerful role, ladies, y'all got. Very powerful role. Man, it's 11:19. I'm going in. I think y'all got the point. Be careful what you feed your mind. I didn't even get to read, Reverend. Like, y'all can get the book and read it. I just went on off script. Ancestors gave me something. God gave me something else to say. Operating truth and wisdom. I know some of y'all just can't quit your job. I know that. But you got ideas. You got money sitting right in your house. You got plenty of ideas. All right. With that being said, peace, prosperity, extreme wealth to all. Have a happy, peaceful, wealthy, joyful Sunday. Peace.